Your fish are dying and you don't know why. The water looks clean. You feed them every day. The filter is running, but one by one, they're disappearing or getting sick and you can't figure out what's wrong. I've been there. I lost more fish than I'd like to admit before I understood what was really happening. The worst part, most of the mistakes I was making seemed harmless. They were small things that everyone told me were normal or that I read in old forums online. But here's the truth. Some of the most common aquarium practices are slowly poisoning your fish without you even knowing it. They don't kill overnight. They weaken the immune system, create invisible stress, and eventually your fish just give up. Today, I'm going to reveal 7 mistakes that might be secretly killing your fish right now. Some of them will surprise you because they go against what many people still believe. And mistake number 7, that one almost destroyed my entire tank before I figured it out. Before we start, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and comment on which mistake you think you might be making. Let's go to the first one. Mistake 1. Overfeeding, the silent killer. Nobody talks about this. Was my biggest mistake for years. I thought I was being a good fish keeper by feeding them multiple times a day. After all, they always seemed hungry, right? They'd rush to the surface every time I walked by, so I'd give them a little more. But here's what I didn't understand. Fish don't have stomachs like we do. They can't regulate their appetite properly. They will eat even when they don't need food. It's survival instinct from living in environments where food is scarce. Every time you overfeed, the uneaten food sinks to the bottom and starts to rot. This releases ammonia into the water. Even the food that fish do eat creates more waste than their system can handle, which also turns into ammonia. And ammonia is extremely toxic. The worst part is that you won't see the effects immediately. Your fish will seem fine for weeks or even months, but slowly, their gills get damaged, their immune system weakens, and they become vulnerable to every disease in the water. The solution is simple but requires discipline. Feed only what your fish can consume in 2 to 3 minutes, once per day. Some people even do fasting days where they don't feed at all. Watch your fish closely during feeding. If there's food floating after 3 minutes, you're giving too much. The most common mistake people make is using the full pinch that the food container suggests. Those recommendations are almost always too much. Start with half of what you think they need, then adjust based on what you observe. After I fixed this one mistake, I noticed clearer water, healthier fish, and far fewer unexplained deaths. Sometimes less really is more. Mistake 2. Ignoring the nitrogen cycle, the invisible foundation. Many beginners don't even know what the nitrogen cycle is. I certainly didn't when I started. I thought you just add water, add fish, and you're done. That's the biggest misconception in fish keeping. Every time your fish produce waste or food decomposes, it creates ammonia. In a new aquarium without established bacteria, this ammonia has nowhere to go. It just builds up and slowly burns your fish from the inside out, starting with their delicate gill tissue. The nitrogen cycle is the process where beneficial bacteria convert toxic ammonia into slightly less toxic nitrite, and then other bacteria convert nitrite into much safer nitrate. But these bacteria don't appear overnight. They need time to colonize your filter and substrate, usually 4 to 6 weeks. This is why so many people experience new tank syndrome. They add fish immediately, and within days or weeks the fish start dying. The water test shows sky-high ammonia or nitrite levels, but by then it's often too late. The right way to do this is called cycling the aquarium. You can do it with fish food, pure ammonia or hardy fish, but the key is giving those bacteria time to establish before adding your main stock. Test your water every few days. When you see ammonia spike, then nitrite spike, then both drop to 0 while nitrate appears, your cycle is complete. I lost my first 3 fish to this mistake because I didn't know any better. Don't let impatience cost you the lives of your fish. Give your aquarium time to mature. It's the difference between a thriving ecosystem and a toxic death trap. Mistake 3. Using tap water without proper treatment. This one seems so obvious now, but I remember thinking, if humans can drink it, fish can swim in it, right? Wrong! Completely wrong. Tap water contains chlorine or chloramine, which water treatment plants add to kill bacteria and make it safe for us to drink. But what kills bacteria in our drinking water also kills the beneficial bacteria in your aquarium. And worse, it burns fish gills on contact. Even if you use a basic water conditioner, you might not be fully protected. Some conditioners only neutralize chlorine but not chloramine. Some don't remove heavy metals, like copper, which can accumulate over time and poison your fish slowly. I had an aquarium where fish would seem fine, then suddenly develop red streaks on their fins or start gasping at the surface. I couldn't figure it out until I tested my tap water and found it had unusually high copper levels. My cheap conditioner wasn't removing it. The solution is to always use a high-quality water conditioner that specifically treats chlorine, chloramine, and heavy metals. Read the label carefully, and never ever add untreated tap water directly into the aquarium, even during water changes. Another tip that saved my fish is to let the new water sit for a few minutes after adding conditioner before pouring it in. This gives the chemicals time to fully neutralize. And always try to match the temperature of the new water to your aquarium water to avoid thermal shock. The most common mistake is thinking all water conditioners are the same. They're not. Invest in a good one and use it religiously. Your fish's respiratory system will thank you. Mistake 4. Overcrowding. More fish doesn't mean more fun. I used to think a full aquarium looked better. More colors, more movement, more life. So I kept adding fish until the tank looked busy and vibrant. What I didn't realize is that I was creating a slow motion disaster. Every fish produces waste. The more fish you have, the more ammonia, nitrite, and nitrate build up in the water. Even with a good filter, there's a limit to how much bioload your system can handle. When you exceed that limit, water quality crashes and fish start dying. But it's not just about water chemistry. Overcrowding creates stress. Fish need space to establish territories, to swim freely, and to have moments of calm. When they're constantly competing for space, their immune systems weaken, and they become susceptible to diseases that would normally not affect them. The general rule is 1 inch of fish per gallon of water, but even that's misleading. A 10-inch fish is not the same as 10 1-inch fish. Larger fish produce more waste and need more swimming room. Territorial fish need even more space regardless of size. I learned this lesson when I had a 20-gallon tank with 15 fish. On paper, it seemed fine, but the fish were constantly stressed, fighting and getting sick. When I reduced the population to 8 fish, everything changed. The survivors became more active, colors brightened, and diseases stopped spreading. The solution is to research each species before buying. Understand their adult size, their territorial needs, and their waste production. Then stock conservatively. It's better to have fewer, healthier fish than a crowded tank full of stressed, dying ones. The most common mistake is buying fish based on their current size at the pet store without considering how big they'll grow. That cute little pleco becomes a 12-inch waste machine. Plan ahead. Mistake 5. Inconsistent water changes. The roller coaster effect. For a long time, I thought water changes were something you did when the water looked dirty. So I'd go weeks without changing anything. Then suddenly do a massive 50% change when I notice the water getting cloudy. This creates what I call the roller coaster effect. When you wait too long between changes, toxins build up slowly. Your fish adapt to the gradually worsening conditions. Then when you do a huge water change, you shock them with suddenly clean water. It's like going from a smoky room into pure mountain air. Your lungs would burn. Fish experience this as a massive swing in parameters. pH shifts, hardness changes, temperature fluctuates, and even the concentration of dissolved minerals changes dramatically. This stresses their organs and immune system, making them vulnerable to disease. The right approach is small, consistent water changes. 10 to 20% every week is far better than 50% once a month. This keeps parameters stable while gradually removing toxins and replenishing minerals. I noticed an immediate difference when I started doing 15% changes every Saturday morning. No more sudden deaths after water changes. No more fish gasping at the surface or hiding in corners. They actually seemed to recognize the routine and would become more active knowing fresh water was coming. Another benefit of consistent changes is that you develop a routine. You start to notice small problems before they become big ones. A slightly cloudy patch, a fish acting differently, a smell that wasn't there last week. These early warning signs save lives. The most common mistake is doing too much too fast when you panic about water quality. Resist the urge. Even if your water is terrible, change only 20 to 30%. Wait a day, then do another small change. Gradual correction is safer than sudden perfection. Mistake 6. Wrong tank mates. The hidden war in your aquarium. This mistake broke my heart more than any other. I had a beautiful community tank with colorful fish that seemed peaceful. But one by one, my smaller fish started disappearing. I thought they were dying and decomposing somewhere I couldn't see. Then one night, I turned on the light unexpectedly and caught my angelfish swallowing a neon tetra whole. I was shocked. The angelfish had lived peacefully with those tetras for months. What changed? Here's what I learned. Many fish have predatory instincts that only kick in when they reach a certain size or maturity. Young angelfish are peaceful. Adult angelfish see anything that fits in their mouth as food. The same goes for many cichlids, larger barbs, and even some gouramis. There's also the issue of fin nippers. Some fish like tiger barbs and serpitetras love to harass slower moving fish with long, flowing fins. Bettas, angelfish, and fancy guppies become constant targets. The nipping doesn't kill immediately, but it stresses the victim and creates wounds that get infected. And then there are territorial fish. Some species are fine with other species, but will fight their own kind to the death. Others need specific male to female ratios, or they become aggressive. Put two male bettas together, and you'll have a disaster. The solution is to thoroughly research compatibility before adding any fish. Don't trust the pet store employee who says everything gets along. Look up adult sizes, feeding habits, territorial behavior, and water parameter preferences. Online aquarium forums and species profiles are invaluable. I now keep a notebook where I write down every fish I want before I buy it. I check compatibility with everything already in my tank. I verify adult sizes and temperament. Only then do I make a purchase. This simple habit has eliminated almost all aggression problems in my aquariums. The most common mistake is assuming small fish stay small and peaceful fish stay peaceful. Always research the adult behavior and size before committing. Mistake 7. Forgetting about oxygen, the invisible suffocation. This is the mistake that almost killed my entire tank. I had everything else right. Good filtration, proper feeding, regular water changes, compatible fish. But on hot summer nights, I'd wake up to find fish gasping at the surface. I didn't understand what was happening until I learned about dissolved oxygen. Water holds oxygen, but the warmer the water gets, the less oxygen it can hold. On hot days, especially in tanks without strong surface agitation, oxygen levels can drop dangerously low. Fish don't die immediately from low oxygen. Instead, they become lethargic, stop eating, and their immune system crashes. They become vulnerable to every bacteria and parasite in the water. What looks like a disease outbreak is often just oxygen starvation weakening their defenses. The warning signs are subtle. Fish hanging near the filter output or at the surface. Rapid gill movement. Reduced activity. I ignored these signs because the fish weren't dead yet, but they were slowly suffocating. The solution is to maximize surface agitation. Your filter should create ripples across the top of the water, not just push water through. You can also add an air stone or air pump, especially during summer months or if your aquarium is heavily stocked. I added a simple air stone to my tank, and within days, the fish were more active, eating better, and their colors improved. It was like watching them come back to life, all because of something I couldn't even see. Another factor is live plants. At night, plants consume oxygen instead of producing it. If you have a heavily planted tank with no surface agitation, your fish might be suffocating while you sleep. Always ensure good water movement, regardless of how many plants you have. The most common mistake is assuming the filter provides enough oxygen just because it's running. The filter needs to disturb the surface to allow gas exchange. Still water is dead water. Conclusion: these 7 mistakes are responsible for more fish deaths than all diseases and parasites combined. The worst part is that most of them are invisible. Your fish die slowly and you never understand why, because the killer is something you can't see. Poor water chemistry, chronic stress, invisible toxins. But now you know. And knowing is the first step to keeping your fish alive and thriving. You don't need expensive equipment or complicated techniques. You just need to avoid these common traps that catch almost every beginner and even many experienced aquarists. Look at your aquarium right now with fresh eyes. Are you making any of these mistakes? Be honest with yourself. I made every single one of them before I learned better. The good news is that they're all fixable. Start with one. Fix it completely, then move to the next. Your fish are depending on you. They can't tell you when something is wrong. They can't ask for help. All they can do is slowly suffer until they give up. But you have the power to change that. You can create an environment where they don't just survive, they thrive. Now I want to know from you, which of these mistakes were you making without realizing it? Or have you discovered another deadly mistake that I didn't cover? Comment below, because your experience might save someone else's fish. If this video helped you, leave a like so I know to make more content like this. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you never miss life-saving tips. And please, share this with any friend who keeps fish. You might save an entire aquarium. Remember, every fish in your tank is a life you're responsible for. Take that responsibility seriously and they'll reward you with years of beauty and companionship. See you in the next video. And until then, keep learning and keep your fish healthy.